Hometown Radio, KGAF 741 right now here on a very nice Thursday morning. And as we told you earlier today, this is Domestic Violence Awareness Month, and very happy to welcome in some folks from Abigail's Arms, one of which we haven't talked to in a long time, Ginger Johnson, the Executive Director at Abigail's Arms. How are you?
I'm good. Thanks for the invite.
You bet. It's good to have you here. And, this is the time of year, really, that you and I have talked quite frequently over the years, Domestic Violence Awareness Month. For the folks that don't know, what is it all about?
It is all about bringing awareness to the community of the problems of domestic violence, just being aware that it is in the community and that we are here to help and how to access those resources.
All right. And this is, of course, this happens every year. And this is the reason, boys and girls, if you see a lot of people wearing purple during October, that's kind of what it's all about. And you folks have something coming up, Purple Thursday, right?
Purple Thursday on the 20th. We're encouraging people to wear purple on that day. Businesses, family groups, taking pictures, posting it on social media, just as a way, again, to bring awareness and let people know that Abigail's Arms is in the community and that this is a problem in the community that needs to be addressed. And if you know somebody, now you know where to send them to get some assistance.
Most people just think this is something that happens. You hear about it across the country. It's not in our little community, but it definitely is.
It definitely is. Unfortunately, statistically, probably in your circle of friends, there is someone, whether you realize it or not, who is dealing with domestic violence in the home behind closed doors. They may not speak about it. But the more we talk about it, the more we make it okay to talk about it, the better it is for us and easier for us to just get the word out and let people know. Coming in, we can support you in whatever way that needs to be done. We let you set your goals, and then we just help you reach them.
And we think of domestic violence, I think, as always being physical, but it's not always just physical, all right?
No, there is a lot of psychological, emotional, other kinds of things that go on before there ever is a physical assault. And most people don't even realize that somebody not allowing you to understand your own finances, to not let you leave the house, to track your movements, these are all part of domestic violence. It's a power and control dynamic in that relationship that is just way out of balance.
I want to talk a little bit about numbers because we haven't caught up in a long time on what's happening at the shelter and how many you have. You always used to say we're full. Are you full?
We're full. We're full. We have about 56 new clients a month. And a lot of times they're calling and they're looking for a safe place to stay. And when we're full, we're obligated to help them find a safe place. And sometimes that means moving out of their own community. And that's a real struggle because what support system they do have is here in their local community. So we always want to try to find safe housing in Cook County, but we have people who call sometimes every day just waiting for somebody to move out so they can move in.
Yeah, and it tugs at your heartstrings. It really does when you have trouble finding places for them. And when you're not just talking about maybe the actual victim of domestic violence or whatnot, you're talking about their kids too.
Their kids too. Anybody in that household is affected by the chaos and the violence in the household. So a lot of times it's not just that we need to house a person, it's that we're housing their entire family and sometimes generations of their family. Their mom may be living with them or their older children who have kids may be living with them. So it is a huge dynamic, and everybody in that household, whether they're the actual victim of the physical violence or not, they are suffering under the chaos and the constant stress of what's next in that inside of that house.
Yeah, scary situation a lot of times too. And I know there are probably a lot of people listening out there that wonder how they might be able to help. And one way, I think, is becoming an agent of change. Tell us what that is.
So Agents of Change is a community education training that we do. We typically do it on Saturdays. We have one coming up on the 29th. Basically, it just helps you understand the dynamics of family violence, and then we talk about the services that we provide and how we provide those, so that as you're out in the community, if someone makes an outcry to you or if you see something that is just like, I think they may need some help, you know now what those resources are, and you can talk about it and ease their fears about stepping off. One thing that we notice, a lot of times people think of a shelter as just a big gym with a bunch of cots, and having an understanding of how our shelter works and what it actually looks like can often alleviate some of those fears, and people are more willing to at least step in and work with our intake specialist, and then just be willing to take that next step to make sure that they're safe, their children are safe, and that they can start moving forward with their life.
Yeah, and I'm glad you brought that up, because I think when people hear the word shelter, they automatically think of an emergency shelter during bad weather or whatever the case may be. But the Abigail's Arms shelter it's much more like an apartment.
It's almost like an apartment or a hotel room. So each room is pretty much self-contained. They are Jack and Jill style, so 2 rooms will share a tub and a toilet. But the vanity, closet, beds, TV, as comfortable as we can make it, almost like a little hotel room. They get to control the climate in the room. We have a huge double kitchen down at one end of the building where they can cook meals. We have a big living area, playroom, and then a huge outside play yard that we're fixing to refurbish.
All right. And for those that don't know, what are other ways that they might be able to help Abigail's Arms? What are you in need of when it comes to help?
Well, we are always in need of the paper products. As you can imagine, with a house full of, up to 40, 46 people, we go through a lot of toilet paper, paper towels. We can always use some kids' clothing. Right now, I think we are low on toddler, boys, girls, long sleeve shirts, jeans as it's getting cooler. So families coming in can have that. Full-size bath towels, full-size sheets, shower curtains, always hair care products, hair conditioner and shampoos, and then ladies' tennis shoes in the pretty much what we consider average sizes, 6 to about 9. We go through those really quickly as well.
And what about, are there volunteer opportunities for people at Abigail's Arms?
Always volunteer opportunities. So we have some regular volunteers that work our front desk. They are that smiling face, that friendly voice on the phone, helping clients when they first walk in. We have some organizing volunteers that do a wonderful job keeping us stocked up and organized. Pretty much if somebody has an idea about how they think they can help, come talk to us, and we'll see if we can make it happen.
All right, sounds good. And tell us once again the date for the Agents of Change training.
It is the 29th, and you can register just by calling. We do feed you lunch. It starts at 9. We're usually finished by about 1:30. And you just need to call and ask for Yvonne Nolan. She's our volunteer and staff relations, and she'll get you all registered up and give you all the information.
And that is held where?
At Abigail's Arms non-residential facility at 201 Harvey Street.
Yeah, and that's kind of new since last time we talked. It's really not new anymore now, but that's how long it's been.
It still feels new sometimes, yes. It was a wonderful move that we were able to make to expand our services and expand our CAC services, our therapy services, just across the board. It was a wonderful move for us.
Yeah, and you already kind of had 2 locations going anyway, but to be able to put your main offices along with the CAC and all in one spot, I know that had to be convenient.
It was. It definitely was. The shelter office space ran out of room really quickly as we grew, and so having that place for our admin and our non-residential services as well as the Child Advocacy Center was just a real blessing for us.
As I've said many times, it's unfortunate but a fact. We didn't build that shelter big enough, did we?
No, we didn't.
Had we only known. And we probably did know, but I know we only did what we could afford to do at the time.
This is true.
Yeah,
this is true.
No doubt about that. I do want to introduce quickly Megan Knight, who is the Community Advocacy and Prevention Education Coordinator. Lean into that mic. Megan, you say you're pretty new to Abigail's Arms, right?
Yes, sir. So I've worked for Abigail's Arms for a little over 3 months.
And what do you do in your position?
So I do a few things. I'm over community outreach, so going out into the community and being an advocate for Abigail's Arms, connecting folks to resources that our agency can provide, as well as the CAPE program, which is out in the schools, teaching prevention education, healthy relationships, how to have boundaries, and overall how to be and build leaders in our schools.
I would imagine getting out in schools, and Ginger, you can probably address this as well, getting out in the schools and telling folks about this, especially at the lower levels, there have to be kids that have no idea this is going on, right? And are pretty amazed that we've got this problem.
Yes, and a lot of times what we find is that kids, they don't have the mindset and the education. They don't realize that's what's going on isn't normal and healthy. So what we're trying to do is break that cycle, helping them understand what normal relationships are, in the hopes that as they grow older and they start having their own relationships, that they are healthy relationships, and then they don't end up coming in to see us later on because there's violence.
Yeah, very, very important. Well, thank you, ladies, for being here. Nice to meet you, Megan.
Nice to meet you. Thanks for having us.
Always good to see you, Ginger, and we'll try to do this more often. We've kind of lost touch, but we don't want that to happen. So they are from Abigail's Arms, Cook County Crisis Center, and don't forget the Agents of Change training coming up on the 29th at Abigail's Arms. So if you need more information, give them a call, and they can fill you in.